I've written a haiku. Would you like to hear it? Unless you skip ahead or completely exit this video, you don't really have a choice, but here it is. Autumn soon, red of her hair. I've also made an NFT out of this, and I'd very much like anyone who owns that NFT to also own this one-of-one inked version of it. But if I do manage to sell it, who owns the copyright? Me or the buyer? Hello folks, James here from TradingView, and today on CryptoSnap we're taking a bracing dip into the deep, dark and dank waters of NFTs and copyright law. Look, I'm not going to lie to you, it is a mess of a topic, alright, but it is one that is being talked about a lot at the moment after conceptual internet artist Ryder Ripps released a copycat Bored Ape Yacht Club collection as part of a targeted attempt to hurt Bayc's creators Yugo Labs, because he alleges that they've hidden substantial Nazi and racist iconography and messagery within their universe, something that they of course strenuously deny. And I can't say that word very well, so I'm going to say strongly deny. We've been covering this ongoing car crash on our main Snaps channel. There's a link below if you'd like to read up on it. But yes, essentially, the debacle seems to have got some people asking very deep ontological questions like, what exactly do I own? And what exactly can I do with this digital JPEG I bought for 500 ETH back in the bull market and I'm now really regretting? So for the purposes of letting people look first, then leap, let's take a look at this tangle of thorns. Well, of course, we have to start with the NFTs themselves. I think if you're watching this, then by now you know that the acronym stands for non-fungible tokens. Money is fungible. You can trade 110 for 2 5s and it's all still the same thing. No one's going to quibble if I give them the former or the latter, unless I pay for a Tesla Roadster in quarters or a Pepsi Max in Benji's perhaps. But if something's non-fungible, you can only trade it in exchange for something that isn't it. There's only 3 DeLoreans used in the making of the sci-fi epic Back to the Future, and each one of those is slightly different from each other and can't be swapped interchangeably as some sort of anything goes DeLorean currency. That would be madness. Finally, the token bit. Of course, it denotes it's on a blockchain, which, for the purposes of gross oversimplification, means our represented item is indeed guaranteed non-fungible. Got it? Well, let's go a bit deeper. Specifically, when we're looking at NFTs and copyright, we need to bear in mind that there are 3 components at play here. Take my haiku. There's the on-chain element, the NFT of the poem. Then there's the off-chain element, which is the one-of-one piece of written work, which is apparently tethered to the actual NFT, although that process is a bit iffy. But a better example would be this NFT representing the ownership of a physical tungsten cube stored at Midwest Tungsten Services headquarters. Finally, there's the copyright of the original creation of the work, which denotes the intellectual property protecting original works of authorship. So if I make something creative and expressionist and original and free-flowing and all that hippie stuff, I can reproduce it, make derivatives from it, or sell it, but no one else can.
You gotta give me a chance after I tell you this.
Under current US law, works created on or after January 1st, 1978 have a copyright term equivalent to the life of the author plus 70 years after their death. So everything NFT related could theoretically be covered. And this is where it all starts to get a bit murky and gooey for NFTs, because to many people it's not very clear if they're buying a copy, just like a copy of the pitch book for the movie Dune, or the copy plus the copyright, the pitch book alongside the IP rights to make derivative Dune movies and merch and all that sort of stuff. And that presents an Arrakis-sized bunch of issues here. But let's focus specifically at Bored Ape Yacht Club, the most successful project in the NFT space at the moment with a floor of around 90 ETH. The Bayc terms of service aren't readily apparent. You can't find it easily when you're looking on OpenSea, for example, but they do exist and grant a commercial license to owners of each Bored Ape NFT to profit from it and make derivatives of that ape. So people can do all sorts, like make restaurants themed on their ape, or sell crappy hoodies, or ape sweat scented candles for all I care. Indeed, it was these generous terms that were widely seen to give the apes an edge over the former leaders of the space, CryptoPunks, which, before Yugo bought them, operated under the NFT license. This new license, outlined in full at nftlicense.org, attempts to give creators more control over their intellectual property without being quite as stifling as mainstream copyright rules. So, for instance, DGen owners can commercialize their own merchandise up to a $100,000 revenue cap each year for the NFTs they own, but they can't make derivatives of the work. So no CryptoPunks 2077 for you.
Where are we? Is it a dream?
It'll be all right, V. You'll see.
However, the NFT license was as welcomed by A-list celebrities wanting to profit off their profile pics as a wet fart in a crowded elevator, and so Bayc eventually flipped CryptoPunks in floor price at the end of last year. Still, the complexities just keep on piling on, so let's pile a few more on. Take Robot Chicken co-creator Seth Green, for example. He set out to make a TV cartoon series called White Horse Tavern using his ape. That NFT then got stolen in a phishing scam, and he had to pause production of the show because the Bayc license seemed to indicate that only the physical owner of the NFT owned the commercial rights, and he was no longer the owner because the ape was no longer in his possession. He did eventually get it back though for $100,000 more than he paid for it. But even if he just sold the NFT instead, can he sell it but choose to retain the copyright for himself? And if not, under which exact mechanism would the IP transfer from Seth to the new owner via Yugo Labs? It's not clear. The Verge goes into all of this in great detail, including technicalities about what constitutes a signature for rights transfers, all stuff that we don't really have time to cover for here, but it is kind of worth checking out, so there is a link in the description below if you would like to do so. Now, if you want to add more fire to the ever-fanning flames of complexity, then consider that Ryder Ripps, whose Bayc copy pasta collection sparked this whole video off, he's not actually getting pulled up for copyright infringement, but trademark infringement. Basically, the unique identifiers by which customers find a product or service in the marketplace. This logo is the focus, not these apes. And Ryder himself appears to be using a fair use stance as his defense, that he doesn't need copyright or trademark rights because his allegations are a form of artistic expression, criticism, and contextual commentary about Web3, which should be protected from the need to require copyrights. Make of that what you will, but I'm not going down that particular rabbit hole trying to explain to you what art is. It's bad enough just dealing with copyright.
And mere oblivion.
But with all this rights jiggery pokery going on, is it any wonder that some people want nothing to do with any of it and are instead ignoring the daggers they see before them and washing their ink-stained hands of all copyright issues by releasing their collections under a CC0 or no rights reserved license, which is the most lenient license you can do while still adhering to basic copyright law. Nihilistic wet dream NFT project We Are All Going to Die, for example, is one of them and clearly denotes CC0 in their NFT description fields. Goblin Town is another. And so here's my attempt to bring all of this round into some sort of satisfying conclusion so you can leave feeling content with what you've just watched. Essentially, NFT copyright is a shit show and a pretty untested space, legally speaking. So do read up on your projects, people, and do see what licenses they list. It'll save a load of hassle in the long run. And if you can't see the terms, don't assume you have the copyright, because you probably don't. And actually, before you go, one last thought to mess with your minds a bit more. Maybe no one has any copyright to any NFTs at all and never did. According to copyright.gov and the Supreme Court, things that are not creative, like titles, names, short phrases, and lists of ingredients and contents don't count. And what's an NFT? It's a short string of data listing a URL where an image or piece of content can be found. It's the museum's signage, not the Mona Lisa. And can you copyright that? Either way, my 6-word, 7-syllable haiku definitely does not count. Go use it at will you? Because I'm done with this topic.